Hi everyone, this is Kyle with kayDbait. This will be video 7 of my debate videos, and it will be an actual debate topic, and I will be doing one side, and I would actually like for people to give a video response or comment response of their side of the issue, and then I can try to rebuttal that. So the topic is going to be society, the laws within a society, and the implications of justice, where justice is not defined as many people believe it is. So my stance will be, it's not pro or con, but it's a stance that it is not as it should be, and this is why. Okay, the idea of law is when one person breaks a law, they are punished. They have some repercussion, and it is meant as a deterrent for future offenses, whether it be the person that originally had the offense or people viewing the punishment and not wanting that. And it has become a perpetuation of prevention, and that's a good thing. It prevents people from doing bad things. But the issue I find with our current United States judicial system is that it is too broad, too general. It's more of a wave over everything as opposed to an individual offense. No two offenses, regardless of how similar they are done for the same reasons or with the same motivation. And to me, motivation is more important. The intent of the action represents what is good or bad. And a punishment within the judicial system should not be to punish. It should be as a form of rehabilitation, to make something that was originally unfair or unproductive within a society to become productive and the situation to be made fair. To punish does not automatically compensate those that are affected. And not necessarily compensation will make it equal either. If you murder somebody, you cannot bring them back. No matter how many times you say you're sorry, no matter how much money you pay, nothing you can do can ever make it undone. But there are reasons we have incarceration and rehabilitation centers, known as prisons and jails. They are meant to prevent future crimes. But if that is the only thing that they are trying to do, which is prevention, then you have no equalization. The people that are being wronged are not being equalized anymore. And I wanted to make this topic on that failure in our judicial system. We have a focus on punishment as opposed to rehabilitation. There are a lot of people that go to jail and actually become worse. They learn how to do more crimes, and they learn, they become hardened. They become hardened criminals. That's an actual term. And that is a failure on our judicial system. So while I believe it works in what people believe it was intended for, which is prevention, it actually should be the rehabilitation aspect as opposed to punishment. And while punishment is a deterrent, it is not what society should be doing. The societal view of law is to protect life, promote a beneficial life, one worth living, and also, if I can look at my notes, to prevent abuses by people within that society. Those three things within law in a society dictate not just punishment, but rehabilitation. Because punishment does not benefit anyone. All it does is make it so other people may feel like they're getting justice, where a person who has been wronged, watching the wronger, or wrongee, I guess, being punished. And that is a vindictive view. That is I feel good because they are being hurt, because they wronged me. And that is a very damaging view, and that is not a positive view. Obviously, there are situations where that is necessary. There are times when people must be punished because that is the only way they will learn. But if you only punish for the sake of hurting, then you are not punishing for the proper reason. You punish a child so they'll learn, not so they will be hurt. There is also another important term, justice. Within a society, justice is not punishment. It is not a blanket term. Justice is the individual re-equalization between individuals and the society itself. If you punish one person because of an action and you give the exact same punishment to somebody else who has done something differently, that is not justice. That is a punishment that the society has deemed fair for that action. And that is not an individually formulated response. That is an automatic response. And automatic responses are not fair because they do not have consideration. And one of the important parts of fairness is the consideration of all variables within a situation, whether it be an accident that resulted in harm being punished the same as an intentional action. And we do have laws that are involuntary manslaughter versus murder, first degree, second degree, third degree. Yes, we have those. But there are failures within the system of properly administering those, where it has become political, it has become who said what, proof required as opposed to people admitting to what actually happened. And that's a failure on ourselves. That is a human failure to admit and understand a situation before acting and responding to it. And that is one of the problems we may never be able to solve within the judicial system, at least not in our lifetime, where one person does not want to be punished regardless of if they actually deserve, and they will not learn from it. They will not try to accept and progress from this punishment. They will try to fight it. And in fighting it, all they do is confuse and hurt others. So as a human society, we have failures within the system that we cannot compensate for yet. And the only way we can compensate is through things like surveillance videos, recording people, witness testimony, things that are generally objective as opposed to subjective. But the issue with that is also context. You do not know what the person was thinking when they did an action. Somebody that commits murder who can prove that they were not intentionally harming somebody will only get manslaughter, where somebody that might have accidentally killed somebody, been not very articulate in court, who was misunderstood, may be punished for murder. So there are failures within the system that need to be eventually fixed. The biggest ones I see, the biggest ones I feel are relevant to what I'm trying to say, is no two motivations are the same, but they're being treated as the same. There are failures to consider and understand the other person. The same goes for in a debate, and that really is what court is. You are trying to explain yourself, and they are trying to explain yourself. You are the topic, the person that is the persecutor, or actually the defendant technically, is the one that is trying to be explained. Why did they do this? What did they do? Prove it, don't prove it, counter arguments. So within that, when our system focuses more on punishment than rehabilitation, Because if a person does something and it is an evil act of damaging and selfishness, any kind of action that is done to damage for a selfish reason is, in my book, evil. But doing an evil thing and being an evil person are different. You can repent. You can be sorry. That is what rehabilitation is to acknowledge and understand your actions and to be, at the very least, sorry that you did them, not necessarily to the point of never doing it again or being in the same situation and not doing it because you might have actually had a good reason to break the law, but understanding that others were affected and being sorry that they were affected in a negative way. That is what rehabilitation is. That is what rehabilitation is for. When you don't have that, when the entirety of it is incarceration as a preventative measure, then you are not helping the people that were wronged. You are not helping the wronger either to become better. They are hurt because they are messed up in the head, and they need help also. If all you do is put criminals with criminals and then you do not try to help them, you do not give them an education, you do not help them in life, obviously some of these people are crazy. Obviously there are things that you cannot help them with and that they will fight you and that it is a losing battle. There are instances of that, especially with mental disorders such as sociopaths. But there are a lot of people that are misguided and they just need help. That is where I feel the judicial system is failing. And it should be made better in that people should have counseling in jail. They should have some form of educational services that are either mandatory or promoted within a jail. And for hardened criminals that are repeat offenders that will never become better, they should have some kind of outlet that is still productive, where instead of just keeping them locked up because they're monsters, you should have them working in some fashion to help others. And obviously that's vague, but I don't know how to implement that. And that's the failure of my argument, is that I do not have a solid fix for this. And I try not to do debates where I don't have a solution, but this particular issue does not have an instant active solution. It has a passive solution, which is education, cultural upward spiral of teaching, understanding, reasoning, and just understanding life in general, which is a cultural thing. Those will eventually make these problems become less to the point of becoming unimportant. But for now, they are very large and they are damaging, and hopefully the education system will become better as well. So that's my topic. That is my side of the debate. Please have a response. I would love to hear it. I will watch any responses and read any responses you post. And if you have something to say, please do not be shy to say it. So, peace.